Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the heart of a dense forest, there lived a young woman named Kelly. Kelly was an unusual woman, for she had a secret that she kept hidden from everyone, even her closest friends and family. She had a large family, and they were poor. Everyone was busy. They had a job to do to keep things afloat, and Kelly did not feel like she was seen or heard as a member of the family. You see, Kelly had the ability to transform into a beautiful hummingbird. With a flutter of her arms, she would become a tiny bird with vibrant feathers, capable of flying higher and faster than any other bird in the village. It started randomly happening in her sleep when she was 16 years old, but over time she found ways to control it. Kelly kept this secret close to her heart, for she was afraid of what the villagers might think of her strange ability. Magic was feared in this village, and she wanted to seem normal so she wouldn't scare anyone. She also learned how she could use this ability to her advantage. Most people didn't pay attention to hummingbirds, so she could see what balls were like, since she wasn't ever invited to them. She was able to travel quickly to other villages and go on adventures that she wasn't able to do in her human form. Kelly even toured the palace of a nearby kingdom without anyone noticing. Her gift was able to give her some happiness. But one day, her secret was revealed when a wicked witch came into the village, determined to capture Kelly and use her powers for her own evil purposes. With the help of her friends, Kelly fled into the forest, pursued by the witch and her minions. As they chased her deeper into the forest, Kelly decided to use her ability to transform into a hummingbird. She closed her eyes and concentrated, and in an instant she was no longer a young woman, but a tiny bird soaring through the trees. Kelly flew higher and higher, leading the witch and her minions on a wild chase through the forest. But the witch was a cunning foe, and she was determined to capture Kelly. Just when all seemed lost, Kelly remembered a legend she had heard of a magical flower that bloomed deep in the forest. The flower was said to grant the person who plucked it immense power, and was the only thing that could defeat the witch. The flower was said to be on the outskirts of town, past obstacles that humans could not cross. Determined to save her village, Kelly flew as fast as she could to the location of the magical flower. She was able to fly right over the obstacles and plucked the flower from the ground. With its power coursing through her veins, she transformed back into her human form. With the witch and her minions closing in, Kelly raised the flower to the sky and summoned a powerful blast of energy that struck the witch, vanquishing her forever. The villagers cheered as Kelly returned to the village, hailed as a hero and celebrated for her bravery. From that day on, Kelly was no longer afraid to use her powers, for she had proven that she was not only a young woman with an unusual ability, but a hero. And so, the legend of the woman who could transform into a hummingbird lived on, inspiring generations to come. On the day of the race, Rusty lined up at the starting line, feeling nervous but determined. When the starting flag waved, the other race cars zoomed off, leaving Rusty far behind. But as the race progressed, something strange started to happen. The other race cars began to break down, one by one, leaving Rusty in the lead. The crowds cheered as Rusty, who had never been in the lead before, crossed the finish line and became the champion of the race. The other race cars were shocked and couldn't believe what had just happened. They realized that they had been too focused on speed and had neglected the importance of having a sturdy and reliable engine. Rusty, on the other hand, had a heart of gold and was built to last. He had won the race not by finishing the fastest, but by being the most dependable. From that day on, Rusty was no longer teased for his slow pace. Instead, he was celebrated and admired for his inner strength and resilience. And Tozer, who had always known that Rusty was special, was proud of his best friend for never giving up and showing everyone what true success was all about. The end. Once upon a time, there was a young cat named Mittens who lived in a small town. Mittens was unlike any other cat in the town. While other cats were content with chasing mice and napping in the sun, Mittens had a passion for dancing. Ever since she was a kitten, she would twirl and leap around whenever she heard music. One day, Mittens overheard that a grand dance competition was being held in the city. She immediately knew that she wanted to participate and show the world her love for dancing. However, when she told her parents about her dreams, they were not supportive. Dancing is for fools and wastrels, they said. Cats are meant to hunt and protect, not prance around like silly peacocks. If you are enjoying the stories, subscribe with notifications for more content. Thank you. Mittens was heartbroken. She'd always thought that her parents would be proud of her, no matter what she chose to do. But she was determined to not let their disapproval stop her from following her dreams. With the help of her friend, a wise old owl named Hooty, Mittens practiced every day, perfecting her moves and refining her technique. And on the day of the competition, she took to the stage, ready to dance her heart out. As soon as she started dancing, the audience was captivated. Mittens twirled and leaped with grace and poise, her movements flowing together like a gentle breeze. She was so captivating that everyone in the audience, even the judges, were completely entranced by her performance. When the competition was over, Mittens was declared the winner, to the applause of the crowd. Her parents were there, watching in awe as their daughter was crowned the greatest dancer in the city. They realized then that they had been wrong all along and that Mittens had found her true calling. From that day forward, Mittens continued to dance, spreading joy and beauty wherever she went, and her parents, proud of their daughter's success, supported her in all of her endeavors. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom beneath the waves, there was a fish named Finny. Finny was different from all the other fish in the kingdom. While they were content swimming and playing in the ocean, Finny had a love for painting. He would watch and wonder as the sunlight danced on the surface of the water, creating patterns and colors that he longed to capture on canvas. However, Finny lived underwater, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to find a way to paint. The materials he needed for painting, like paintbrushes and canvases, were not found in the ocean. He felt frustrated and discouraged, for he knew that he would never be able to pursue his passion. One day, Finny met a wise old crab named Crabby who lived on the shore. Crabby listened to Finny's tale of woe and had an idea. "Why don't you paint with the things you have around you?" Krabby suggested. Finny was skeptical at first, but he decided to give it a try. He used seaweed for brushes and rocks for canvases, and to his surprise, he found that he was able to create beautiful paintings that reflected the vibrant colors of the underwater world. Paintings became famous throughout the kingdom, and everyone wanted to see his artwork. The other fish marveled at the beauty that Finny had created, and they were amazed that he had found a way to express himself despite the limitations of his environment. And so, Finny became known as the greatest underwater painter in all the kingdom, and his love for painting continued to bring joy to all who saw his art. He proved that with a little creativity and determination, anything is possible. The end. Once upon a time, in a lush jungle, there lived an elephant named Sally. Sally had a big heart and a love for helping others. She dreamt of becoming a doctor so she could heal the sick animals in the jungle and make their lives better. However, Sally soon discovered that becoming a doctor was not going to be easy. She learned that she needed to go to medical school, but the cost was too high for her family to afford. Sally was heartbroken and felt like giving up on her dream. One day, Sally met a wise old raven who lived in a tree near her home. The raven listened to Sally's story and told her that she should never give up on her dreams, no matter what obstacles lay in her path. The raven then gave Sally a magical seed and told her to plant it in the ground and be patient. Sally followed the raven's instructions and planted the seed. Every day she watered it and watched it grow. As the days went by, the seed grew into a towering tree, and at the top of the tree was a beautiful golden fruit. Sally climbed to the top and plucked the fruit. As soon as she ate it, she felt her knowledge and wisdom grow. Sally realized that the old raven had given her the gift of knowledge, and she could now become a doctor on her own. She spent the next several years learning all she could about medicine and healing, and soon she became known as the wisest and most skilled doctor in the jungle. Animals in the jungle came to Sally for help, and she healed them with kindness and care. Sally was finally living her dream, and she was happy knowing that she was making a difference in the lives of those around her. And so, Sally lived a long and fulfilled life, healing the sick and spreading joy wherever she went. The end. Once upon a time, in the depths of the ocean, there lived a great shark named Biter. Biter had always been fascinated by amusement parks on land and dreamed of creating one of his own underwater. One day, Biter decided to turn his dream into a reality and began working on plans for the ultimate underwater amusement park. He envisioned a place filled with thrilling rides and exciting attractions that would bring joy to all the fish in the ocean. However, when Biter approached the other fish to ask for their support, he encountered a major problem. The fish didn't trust him because of his reputation as a fierce predator. They were afraid that the amusement park would be a trap and that Finn would use it to attack them. Biter was devastated. He knew he had to change the way the fish saw him if he ever was going to realize his dreams. So he decided to prove himself to the fish by performing good deeds and helping those in need. Biter spent months working tirelessly to help the other sea creatures. He rescued fish who were in danger, cleaned up the ocean, and even helped to create a new habitat for a group of sea turtles. Slowly but surely, the fish began to trust Spider and see him in a new light. With the fish now behind him, Spider was able to complete his dream and create the ultimate underwater amusement park. The park was a huge success, and all the fish in the ocean came to enjoy its attractions. Spider was overjoyed to see the happiness that the park brought to the sea creatures, and he felt proud to have proven himself to them. And so, Spider lived a long and happy life, creating joy and wonder for all the fish in the ocean. The end. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to hit the like button because it really helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.